Well, Dave White is joining us here, and it's the guy with the turkey hat on over here. He's ready
Really?
for Thanksgiving.
That's surprising.
Absolutely. It's kind of the lost holiday, so, you know, you've got to go with it. And as I always do, when you have a good hat, you know, you can also use it as a very nice centerpiece.
Oh, it's a centerpiece.
And this turkey has a fork and knife.
He does.
If you can't beat him, join him.
That's right. That's right. You know, free bird. Free bird. There you go.
Dave is here to talk about the public comment period about a new invasive species rule that that is coming up. But first, I want to ask you about this drone that's out in Lake Ontario someplace. As a recreation expert and doing what you do, hearing about a drone in Lake Ontario, the time of year that it came down, anything to worry about here? Are you worried about the fuel in the water, or is it just like nothing really big for you?
You know, most of us don't know a lot about drones, so I mean, we're going to be learning as we go. You know, we'll learn about the fuel containment system on it and that kind of thing. You know, and very fortunate, it was a good time of year if this was going to happen as an accident, that there was not a lot of activity on the lake from that standpoint. But also, we're known for having a lot of variety of wrecks in the lake, and you know, this is not the first. I mean, there are several airplanes that are actually in the lake, and several are experimental. I mean, the lake areas across the Great Lakes and others have been used as test areas throughout history. So not only are there a lot of shipwrecks, but there are also several airline wrecks that have gone down that, you know, people still talk about the Getaway Gertie and some of the other planes that are in Lake Ontario.
All right.
So it's part of our heritage and history here.
And it could be that we don't find it.
And it could be coming up in pieces, and I think that's what they're waiting to hear, is for the public to provide them, you know, if they do see anything on the shore, obviously connect with them.
Well, let's talk about what you're here to talk about. I appreciate your answer on that.
Oh, no problem.
The new rule that is being proposed, it's to, I guess, help keep invasive species out.
Yes, you know, as we've gone through the whole invasive species things and talked about it, ballast water has always been a big issue to keep big ships from coming in. But one of the other things in New York has had a, you know, it's, you know, the blacklist, if you will, that they're now codifying, which will be, here are the invasive species that we're very specifically concerned about, both aquatic and terrestrial. Emerald ash borer, zebra mussels, I mean, the whole rogues, you know, gallery, if you will. This law will begin to say what are the rules and regulations for prohibiting their transport, their sale, their possession, you know, for scientific use, for public use, for commercial sale. So it begins to put that into law so that there's a process by which if someone wants to sell an invasive species, what process would you go through to do that? Because, I mean, people do.
So people do sell them?
There are several that can be sold, or, you know, bait that has to be certified as to what kind of is it native, is it invasive, what's the control factor? A lot of research people have to use invasives within their labs, so it's knowing where they are, because as we well know, a lot of invasives have gotten into the system through aquaria release potentially, you know, accidental release from a pond to another area. So knowing where they are also begins to put in play, are there any management issues or considerations that need to put in? You know, when they talk about Asian carp, you know, it's the one that we're most concerned about right now coming into the Great Lakes. Asian carp got in, it was an invasive brought in to control algae and weeds in farm ponds. Through flooding, it got out of the farm pond into the environment that it is now in within the Mississippi. So it's knowing that.
Is that the one that jump up and
hit you in the face? It's the one that we all love to watch the YouTube videos, as long as we're not in the boat. We're not the one being
now,
absolutely.
Very quickly, is this government telling us what to do? Is this more of that, or are you guys in favor, or are you personally in favor of more regulations when it comes to this sort of stuff?
Well, I think that's what this is about, for folks to look at, to say, is this going to provide a better opportunity for us to be part of controlling invasive species? And the nice thing is, I think many people are part of the control. The whole Stop Aquatic Hitchhiker campaign that we talked about, what we do with our launch stewards at boat launch ramps. It's bringing the whole community together to talk about it, provide input to DEC. You know, are there things on the list that should be added to it? You know, how does a new invasive get added to the list? But you also have to remember this is statewide, and when we talk about ports as well, this begins to restrict and provide an opportunity to make sure we're not bringing things in through shipping and ports. And as a statewide, it also has to be looked at that we have species in New York that are native in one part of the state that are invasive in another part. And so you have to look at that as well. So it provides the public an opportunity to comment, as they normally would on regulation, but also to really look at it to say, how will this be a help to this next step in helping us prevent invasive species and push them off before they do come into the lakes?
The public comment period between now and December 23rd. The closest one that folks around here can go to is in Syracuse. It's at the fairgrounds on Wednesday, December 11th, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you can go there and speak your piece, right?
Speak your piece. DEC's got it online, and a great place is NIAS.info, which has the information on all the various species people can learn about. So it's a great another awareness opportunity for folks to learn about it and be a part of the process.
Very good.
Thank you.
Good
to see you. Have a great Thanksgiving.
You as well.
You too.
We'll be right back.